Good afternoon. In this video, we're going to go over this past week's trades and the weekly recap. Before I get into the recap, if you're not in the room, you can find the link in the description of the video and in my bio section of social media accounts. Plus, also like the video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Now, I did finish the week with 14 wins and 1 loss for a win rate of 93.33%. Very good week, can't complain whatsoever. We'll start with Monday, the 29th. Traded his room, I said SPY calls for 547.50. The 29th is right here. So let's see, what to say, 547.50. Yeah, right. I went basically off this level right here, but I rounded up. Yeah, right around here. Like I said, in the pre-market room and the traded is room pre-market, I always round to the nearest half dollar or whole dollar. There's no point going to an exact number, not the first 10-minute candle, because it's too volatile and too crazy. So with that said, the first 10-minute candle, it was green. I waited it out, but when it made new higher day, I took calls. I took the 5,500 calls at 690, and they went from 690 to 820, so that ended up being a pretty good play. Then I took puts at 1012, which is let me blow this up a little more. 1012, which is right here, right underneath the bodies of these two candles right here. I mean, I don't like going on the wick, because if I went to the wick, it's way down here. You got a nice little area right here. You got this body closed above VWAP, and these two are side by side. So, you know, underneath 545.70 was a perfect area to grab put. So that's where I did. I grabbed, let's see, the 54.50 puts at 650, and they went from 650 to 830. So I got a little bit of a play. Then I took puts again at 126, which is probably right here. Yeah, right here. Yeah, it's not making new higher day. It's consolidating right here. And it looked like it was flagging and get ready to push up, and it did break out, but it failed to break new higher day. When it came back down, you get all this area right here underneath 546. So when I broke 546, that's when I grabbed the puts. I grabbed the 54.70 puts at 790, and they went from 790 to 1180 right there. So we got a nice good play out of that. So this whole week, SPX has been very, very expensive. So it's been kind of crazy. So didn't play as much early. Well, I did the first couple of days. I think it really got expensive, I think, from like Wednesday on. Yeah. With that said, let's see, the 30th, which is Tuesday, SPY calls under 546, which is what? SPY calls over 546, which is 546.50. What is with me today? Yeah, rounded up. First 10-minute candle was green. Let's see, I took calls. Yeah, I took calls at 940. As soon as it broke higher day, right here, as soon as it broke higher day on this ORB, which is open range breakout or breakdown. So I was looking at calls. As soon as it got made new higher day on the second 10-minute candle, I took the 5,500 calls at 710, and then went from 710 to 870. So I got a little bit of a good play on that. Then it did the same thing as Monday. Monday it did the same thing. It popped and it dropped. I mean, Tuesday was looking like the same thing. So as soon as it broke lower day right here, I grabbed puts. I grabbed the 54.55 puts at $6, and they went from $6 to $8.40. Then I took puts again at 11.37, which is right here. Massive red candle. Got an FU setup right here. As soon as it broke below 541.70, I took puts. I took the 54.10 puts at 520, and they went from 520 to 850. So that ended up being a good play. Then I took calls at 344, which is right here. I grabbed the 54.35 calls at 450. I think I grabbed it when it went over 541.75 ish, I think, somewhere right around in here, right around in this area right here. I grabbed the calls. I went from the 54.35 calls, went from 450 to 1860 in minutes. You see that massive pop right there. Then it dropped. So I got a nice end of the day play on that. Then Wednesday we had FOMC. Didn't touch anything. FOMC was so expensive. It was like $27 at the money, and even with Powell speaking, they're usually not that expensive at the money. They're usually right around 20, but they are really, really expensive. I didn't touch anything until FOMC, and I only took one play, FOMC, and I really didn't like any of the action. I just took the FOMC play, and it ended up being a small loss. Yeah, I took traded. Did they even put anything in the traders room on the 31st? Yeah, I did. SPY puts into 547, which is down here. But like I said, I didn't touch anything. I sat out. And usually when SPX is really expensive on an FOMC day, I'll sit out and wait for FOMC. Because if you take trades and you take a couple losses before FOMC, you're most likely not to take FOMC. And you really shouldn't take another. If you're taking already 2 losses for a day, I wouldn't take another loss. 2 losses is my max. I take 2 losses, I'm done. I know sometimes I go against that, but usually my rule is 2 and I'm done. Because if I take 2 losses, I'm not in my groove. So. And that's why I do not trade before FOMC, because I don't want to take those 2 losses and miss FOMC. So I just sit out, enjoy the morning. And what I did with the FOMC straddle is I took 54.75 puts at $6, and I took the 55.50 calls at $5. And this is FOMC. This is the open FOMC candle. It was nothing. It doesn't even look like we even had FOMC. Usually we have a massive pop and a massive drop, and we barely got anything. So the calls did manage to go to 1040, so I had them at $5, and they went to 1040. And I hung on to the puts, thinking that we were gonna dump, and we did dump a little bit here, but it never went below the 548, 549. I mean, and I thought we were gonna pop here, then drop, and Powell spoke, but no, it was just crazy. It was not what I was expecting. Very, very dull. FOMC, so I'm glad I didn't take anything else. But the first Thursday, straight down. This is crazy. Did the same thing Monday and Tuesday, pop and drop, inverted J hook, if you want to call it that. So I was traded his room on the first. SPY calls of 554, which is right here. This high, first 10-minute candles green. I took the calls on the ORB. Once it broke a new high day on the second 10-minute candle, I took the 55.75 calls at $6, and they went from $6 to $9.60. So that ended up being a really, really good play. And then I took puts where it broke lower day right here at 10.07. I took the 55.20 puts at 7.60, and they went from 7.60 to 26.50, which is a 200% plus move if you held all the way through. So that ended up being a really good play. And to me, I hate these days, whether it's straight up or straight down, because at this point you're just chasing. And we got 555, and down here 540. That's a $15 move. I mean, that's just crazy. We don't usually see $15 moves, and last time we've seen $15 dump days is like COVID. Usually we see a $10 dump day, 12 max if it's really volatile, but 15, you don't usually see that. Last time we saw that was probably COVID, if I had to go back and look, which I'm not going to do. So yeah, the COVID dump, we had $15, $20 days, but we haven't had anything greater than 10 in a long time. So kind of crazy that actually did happen. Friday, it was SPX was so expensive. Traded his room. I sit on the second Friday. SPY calls of 538. I was expecting a dead cat bounce. I didn't. It didn't do anything. It just dropped and it went sideways. But I traded other things. Like I said, SPX was so expensive on Friday. It was like an FOMC Powell expensive Friday. It was just very, very crazy. So, I just looked at other things. I played Microsoft. Let's see, Friday Microsoft. I think I took 946. So I took right at the ORB when it broke new lower day underneath 410. I took Microsoft 470 and 50-cent puts at 247, and they went from 247 to 330. So that ended up being a good play. And I thought about taking it again down here, but I didn't feel right. So, but I was watching Tesla, and I did take Tesla a few times. So I took Tesla when it broke 1008, which is right here when it broke new lower day. I took the 212.50 puts at 245, and they went from 245 to 357. So that ended up being a good play. Then I took the same puts again at 212.50 at 1040, which is right here. I took it when it tried to pop up, rejected view up, came back down, and where they went from what 305 to 575 right there. So that ended up being a good play. Then I took Tesla 210 puts at 1218, which is right here, I think. Right when it broke below this 208 area, I took it, it bounced a little bit, then it finally dumped. So they went from 295 to 430. So that ended up being a really good play. Then I ended up playing SPY when it was cheaper at the end of the day. I played calls. My son's awake, so I apologize for that. I took calls at 325, which is right here when it got through VWAP. Actually, I went through VWAP right here. Get all the top of these candles at VWAP rejecting. This 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times. It's likely going to break. The more it touches, the more it's going to likely to break. So when it pushed through VWAP, that's when I grabbed it. I grabbed the 53.40 calls at 750, and they went from 750 to $12. So that ended up being a really good play, and was a very good week. Can't complain whatsoever, except the SPY was extremely expensive. SPX was extremely expensive, so hopefully next week will be a little better, but who knows? There's a lot of volatility coming in with what's going on in the Middle East, so it could be a wild week. So that's going to do it for the recap, and hopefully that's helped, and hope to see you in the room if you're not already in there. Thanks for watching.